What is going on, everyone? This is Sarah coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, we're going back to the 2011 NFL Draft as we discuss the draft pick trade that led to the selection of Blaine Gabbert. So without further ado, we'll jump right in. And the original trade was between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Washington football team. And this trade saw the Jaguars acquire the 10th overall selection in exchange for the 16th and 49th. So with the 10th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected quarterback Blaine Gabbert. Now, Gabbert was expected to be a good but not elite starting quarterback. So they might have reached for him, but so Gabbert, he immediately takes over the starting role, or pretty quickly does, in his rookie year. And he struggles immensely as a rookie. Granted, it's the Jaguars. They don't have a lot of offense to help him out. So he has a decent sophomore year. So it looks like, okay, this guy learned from his mistakes. But he would suffer a season-ending injury in late November, so his sophomore season was cut short. And he comes back his third year, and he looks like he did as a rookie, just struggling immensely, time and time again. And this ends up leading him to get traded. So he is traded straight up to the San Francisco 49ers for a 2014 sixth-round selection, the 205th pick. Now, with the 205th pick, the Jaguars would select center Luke Boanco. And Luke Boanco had a good rookie year as a starter before becoming a backup for 2 seasons, and then he gets traded. So he's traded to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a 2019 7th-round selection, the 236th selection. Now, Jacksonville would trade this selection in a can't-miss trade in exchange for a 6th-round pick in 2020. Now, you might be saying, why would a team trade a 6th-round pick for a 7th-round pick? Simple. Why not? Because you get a guy that you know you want in 2019, and who knows? Seattle was a good team in 2016 or in 2018, so they thought, we're not going to have a bad year in 2019. We're going to have a good year. And they did. So Jacksonville got the 206th pick in the 2020 draft. And with that pick, they would select tight end Tyler Davis, who has mostly been a special teamer at this point in his career. Hasn't really made much of an impact on offense, but as a 6th-round pick, especially in this offseason, that's not horrible. So that covers Jacksonville. What about Washington? So Washington is also one of those teams that likes to trade, similar to Cleveland. So with the 16th pick, they would select defensive end Ryan Kerrigan. And Ryan Kerrigan started off well, proving that he could really get to the quarterback and be disruptive in the pass rush. So he continued to dominate, but by 2014, knee issues started to plague him. And he still has been producing, but it's been at a little bit of a lesser rate. Now, he became Washington football team's all-time franchise sack leader during the 2020 season, which is pretty impressive. That team has had some solid pass rushers, not elite, but solid. And he is a 4-time Pro Bowler up to this point, so pretty impressive. Nothing crazy about him, but pretty impressive nonetheless. Now, the 49th pick ends up getting traded to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for picks 53 and 152. So the 53rd pick gets traded to Chicago for 62 and 127. So we're just going to keep jumping around here. Thanks, Washington. The 62nd pick gets traded to Miami for 3 draft picks. Finally, they sit still. So with the 79th pick acquired from Miami, the Washington football team would select wide receiver Leonard Hankinson. And Hankinson he spent 4 years in the organization, but he was constantly hurt, and he never made much of an impact. He wasn't bad, but he just never made much of an impact. At 146, they would select safety DeJon Gomes, who started 5 games as a rookie and ends up struggling mightily in 2012 and then ends up getting cut. And lastly, with 217, they would select offensive tackle Maurice Hurt, who started 8 games as a rookie as an injury replacement, moved back to a backup role in 2012, missed 2013 due to a knee injury, and then was just cut from the team. So not bad value for a 7th rounder, late 6th or early 7th round pick. Not bad at all. Going back up, so it gets a little messy here. So 127 and 152 were both traded to Houston. So 152, this is the one I wrote it for, was traded alongside picks 127 and 144 for picks 105 and 178. So Yeah. So Washington would select with the 105th pick running back Roy Helu, who wasn't a bad player. He had a very strong rookie year, but then fell to a backup role by 2012 and remained there for a couple more years before leaving the team via free agency. With 178, they would select wide receiver Aldrick Robinson, who was a practice squad player as a rookie, had a decent year 2, a quiet year 3, and then a real slow start to his 4th season in the league before being cut by the team. So you can see Washington was definitely trying to revamp that offense in this draft. So fortunately, that actually takes care of all the trades that Washington did. So surprisingly, we're done with that. So now we're going to look at all the other teams and how they fared in this trade. So we'll start with San Francisco just because they got Blaine. So Blaine Gabbert was a backup in 2014, and then he became the starter halfway through the 2015 campaign, and he was okay, but wasn't great. Now 2016, again, starter on and off, and he wasn't great, he struggled, and then he would leave the team somehow still getting a job despite really sticking up the place in 2 different cities. Baltimore with center Luke Bowanko, he was a backup for a single season before he left the team, and Seattle would select with the 236th pick in the 2019 draft wide receiver John Ursua, who was a wide receiver 5 in 2019 and has been a practice squatter in 2020, so there's a good chance he won't be on that team in 2021. So back up this way, with the 49th pick, the Indianapolis Colts would select offensive tackle Ben Ihualana, and he appeared in 4 games as a rookie before tearing his ACL. Unfortunately, ACL tears would plague him as he tore his ACL early on again in 2012, and then he ends up getting waived, unfortunately for him. With the 53rd pick, the Chicago Bears would select defensive tackle Stephen Paella, who had a quiet rookie year, but became a starter in year 2 and had a good year. Now, he slowed down in 2013, was okay. In 2014, he actually has a pretty good season, getting 6 sacks, and starting all 16 games for the Bears, but then he would walk. The Houston Texans would use these 3 picks. The 127th pick was used on cornerback Rock Carmichael, and he was a special teamer for 2 seasons before being poached off the practice squad by the Philadelphia Eagles. The 144th pick was used on safety Shiloh Keogh, who was a key special teamer for his first 2 years, and then actually ends up getting promoted to a starter's role in 2013, but then just kind of fell out of favor and was cut early 2014. And lastly, they would use the 152nd pick on quarterback TJ Yates, who started 5 games over 3 seasons for Houston before he himself was traded. That trade is not discussed. Lastly, we have the Miami Dolphins, who with the 62nd pick would select running back Daniel Thomas, and Thomas was a serviceable backup running back for Miami for 4 seasons before walking. That was a Blaine Gabbert trade. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm using new markers if you can't tell. That's why we have some new colors here. So hope you guys enjoyed it and have a good rest of your day. This was Blaine Gabbert trade.